Welcome to our continuing series, Questions and Answers, from the works of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. Today, Food, Part 6, from the Mother. If you think about it, you see, it is the vital energy which is in either plants or animals, that is, logically, it is of an inferior quality to the vital energy which should be in man, a slightly higher being in the gradation of the species. So if you draw from below, you draw at the same time the inconscience that is below. It is impossible to eat without absorbing a considerable amount of inconscience. This makes you heavy, coarsens you, and then if you eat much, a large amount of your consciousness is absorbed in digesting and assimilating what you have eaten. So already, if you don't take food, you don't have all this inconscience to assimilate and transform inside you. It sets free the energies. And then, as there is an instinct in the being to recuperate the energy spent, if you don't take them from food, that is, from below, you instinctively make an effort to take them through union with the universal vital forces, which are free, and if one knows how to assimilate them, one does so directly, and then there is no limit. It is not like your stomach, which can digest only a certain amount of food, and therefore you can't take in more than that. And even the food you take liberates only a little bit, a very small quantity of vital energy. And so what can remain with you after all the work of swallowing, digesting, etc.? Not much, you see. But if you learn, and this indeed is a kind of instinct, one learns instinctively to draw towards himself the universal energies which move freely in the universe and are unlimited in quantity. As much of these as you are capable of drawing towards you, you can absorb. So instinctively, when there is no support from below, which comes from food, you make the necessary movement to recuperate the energies from outside and absorb as much of them as you are capable of doing, and sometimes more. So this puts you in a kind of state of excitement. And if your body is very strong and can bear being without food for a certain length of time, then you keep your balance and can use these energies for all kinds of things. As, for example, to progress, to become more conscious and transform your nature. But if your physical body doesn't have much in reserve and grows considerably weak from not eating, then this creates an imbalance between the intensity of the energies you absorb and the capacity of the body to hold them. And then this causes disturbances. You lose your balance, and all the balance of forces is destroyed. And anything at all may happen to you. In any case, you lose much control over yourself and become usually very excited. And you take this excitement for a higher state. But often it is simply an inner imbalance, nothing more. It sharpens the receptivity very much, For example, precisely when one fasts and no longer takes the energies from below, well, if you breathe in the odor of a flower, it nourishes you. The perfume nourishes you. It gives you a great deal of energy. But otherwise, you do not notice it. There are certain faculties which get intensified, and so one takes that for a spiritual effect. It has very little to do with the spiritual life, except that there are people who eat much, think much about their food, are very deeply absorbed in it, and then when they have eaten well, and as I say, they must digest it, and so all their energies are concentrated on their digestion, these people are dull in mind, and this pulls them down very much towards matter. So if they stop eating and stop thinking about food, because there is one thing, that if one fasts and thinks all the time that he is hungry and would like to eat, then it is 10 times worse than eating, and can truly fast because they think of something else and are occupied with something else and are not interested in food, then that can help one to climb to a slightly higher degree of consciousness, to free himself from the slavery to material needs. But fasting is, above all, good for those who believe in it, as everything. When you have the faith that this will make you progress, is going to purify you, it does you good. If you don't believe in it, it doesn't do much, except that it makes you thin. There was Metterlink. You know the books of Metterlink? I think you must have read The Bluebird and others. He was a very fat man, and as he had a sense of beauty, becoming fat upset him very much. So he had decided to fast once a week. One day in the week he did not eat. And as he was an intelligent man, he did not bother about food. He wrote. He worked hard on that day, and that kept him reasonably well and in an elegant form. And from that point of view, it was very useful to him.